Yo, you made it. It's your favorite comic on the rise, Meldon Williams, and you are officially tuned into the Comedy Chatter Podcast. If you've been searching for a pod that talks all things comedy, as well as kick it with today's nationally touring and headlining comedians, then this is the podcast for you. What's good people? Welcome to another episode of the Comedy Chatter Podcast. I am your host, Meldon Williams. Episode 6, we are moving right along. I'm so not going to keep up too much of y'all's time because we got a super dope interview with the very funny Miss Mia Jackson. She's also breaking ground today as the first female comedian on the Comedy Chatter Podcast, and she was most gracious enough to be that and to do that and to give us a great interview. Y'all always know how I start this thing out, man. My shout-outs, Mr. Roger Feeney, Ann Arbor Comedy Showcase, always willing enough to do some things that I ask. And one of the big things that I wanted to do was do a comedy podcast, and I just needed a place to do it. And so he was most gracious enough to give me the green room there at the Ann Arbor Comedy Showcase, the dopest comedy club in the area, man. You guys got to come check it out. See a show Fridays, Saturdays. They do open mic on Wednesday nights now, man. It's a great place to get down and try out some new material and come see some great comedians. Also, Mr. David Pittman, he's the guy that, the only guy that saw my vision. I'm going to shout him out every episode. Only guy that saw my vision as to doing a comedy podcast and, told me, hey, man, I definitely don't mind helping you out. He helped me out, put this thing together. So he's, in charge of all of my editing and all of my, sound stuff, showed me how to do what I need to do in order to produce this thing and get this thing off the ground. So much shouts out to both of you, but shout outs to both of you cats. Back in the day, sponsors today, Tower Records. Now, anybody that knows us back in the high school days, matter of fact, everybody think that my man from Facebook, what's his name? If you saw the movie, you saw the guy that was talking, Sean Parker, I think is his name. The one he's kind of talking about he the one put Tower Records out of business. Shit, I think it was me and my high school friends. We was the one put Tower Records out of business because we stole so many damn tapes out of Tower. We stole so many damn tapes out of Tower Records, dog. And I know it's got to be, hey, I ain't worried about saying it now. Statute limitations, they can't come back and get me now. So, hey, I think we the ones. Tower Records was the spot. After school, you go to Tower Records downtown Ann Arbor. Man, she walk up them stairs, go up there, have somebody talk to the lady, and then you get the tapes like on Juice. Shit, man, we used to go in at Tower Records. So they're no longer in business. I know Sean Parker said he shut them down, with his Napster and all of that stuff. And that might be one of the reasons. But believe me, some of the other reasons was because of me and my dogs from high school in Ann Arbor. We would go to hell in at Tower Records. So that's our back in the day sponsor, man. Hopefully if they were in business today, they would be one of our sponsors. Back in the day sponsors, that's how I do it. What am I chatting on today, man? What we chatting on today? I think in the past month, man, a lot of things have been happening. One of the biggest things that has been happening, man, is the whole Louis C.K. thing. Louis C.K. kind of stepped out, and I know, Kevin Spacey did as well, but he's not a comedian. I kind of try to, stay on the comedy scene here. That's what we do, chat about comedy. Louis C.K. is obviously one of great comedic talents, and he kind of had some problems this past month, talking about what he's done and things in the past. He said he hadn't done anything recently, but yeah, Louis C.K. kind of admitted that he'd done some sexually deviant things, and kind of came out and just said, after he had been accused, came out, said, hey, man, yeah, everything is true. I did it. I'm, sorry. And, I'm saying I got to, look inward myself. He said all the right things. The crazy thing to me about this always is the people that, I mentioned statute of limitations earlier. Like, these people don't tell you then. Like, why? If somebody, pulls their shit out and, starts, masturbating in front of you, and, I understand they talking about the whole, power thing, and he's the power over me. But if somebody does some shit that, fucks with you then how about you tell somebody then? Like, don't wait until they, Louis C.K., like this big comedian, about to release a movie that you wrote, produced, and directed, that was probably going to be pretty, probably going to be dope, like, knowing how talented he is. And now you want to come out, when he's about to go on the press junket and, do all this advertising. Oh, yeah, he, masturbated in front of me years ago. Like, I'm not condoning what Louis did. He said he did it and this, that, and the other. But please don't come out like years later. I mean, that's kind of with the Cosby thing, too. I don't want to, harp on that because we talk about Louis. But, we've harped on Cosby enough. But, I mean, damn, if you did some shit to me, like, and it offended me then you're going to either tell me about it then, like, hey, you offended me when you pulled your dick out and masturbated in front of me. I ain't appreciate that. I don't give a damn who you are. I don't give a damn how big. Like, the president couldn't do no shit like that in front of me, and I just take it. And then years later, you know what? I need to come clean, my soul and my spirit. No. Like, shit. Like, tell somebody then. See, my boy and I were talking about this recently, and we think that these people are just kind of, letting that happen to them then, and then they waiting. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like a blackmail thing. You know what I'm saying? And then later on, they going to come and tell you, no, obviously it didn't offend you that damn much because you didn't say nothing then. So like I said, once again, not condoning what Louis did. Like, he did some foul shit. But I would much rather these people step up then and say, it's not even like 2 days later or 2 weeks later. These motherfuckers coming out like years later. Like, oh, you know what? 5 years ago, someone did something to me and, just for story, like just for stories and, like attention and, all this social media and shit you got on now. All I got to do is jump on social media tonight and say that, Louis C.K. or, whoever, Kevin Hart, did something to me, years ago. And it's going to get some traction. People are going to start looking into it. I'm going to get calls. People are going, hey, man, so really? Like, what happened? What did they do? And before you know it, this person's name is going to be all in the press. That's how much power people have nowadays in all these allegations and shit because of social media and because of all this other stuff. So, my spill on this whole thing is, hey, Louis C.K., foul shit. Yes, admitted it. Stepped up. Hey, damn, I'm sorry, blah, blah. I did do it. It's true. But all I'm saying is that anybody that, from now on, you know what I'm saying, anybody gets, somebody do some shit to you, hey, tell somebody then. Don't wait until they, big comedians, or don't wait until they're famous, or don't wait until this. If the shit offends you then, tell somebody then. How about that? That'll help everybody out in this situation. Obviously I'm a little passionate about that shit because, I'm an aspiring comedian my damn self. And, maybe I done did some foul shit back in the day. You know what I mean? Maybe I done some shit to somebody, you know what I'm saying? I ain't really, I ain't pulling my dick out and masturbated in front of nobody. So anybody tell y'all that, they lying. Shit. I ain't did that shit in front of a woman that wanted me to do it. So I know damn well I know I ain't done it in front of a chick that didn't want me to do it. So yeah, but man, yeah, you aspire it, and what if one day I reach, the pinnacle, of comedy? What if I reach the height and I got a TV show and I got movies and I got that and the other, and then I hear about a chick talking about some, or do whatever. I did some dumb shit to them back. I'll be like, bitch, you lying through your teeth. But of course, you say that. Now all of a sudden you a jerk, and now all of a sudden it's a problem for you. Like no, like you ain't heard, like Meldon ain't did nothing like that. So how about if I offend you now, tell me now, like why I ain't shit. Like tell me now why I don't have a dime. Tell me now while I'm an aspiring comedian, and then we'll be able to, hey, we got to fight about it. Whatever we got to do, like hey, let's handle this now. So when I'm getting it. Don't come to me, 5 years later talking about somebody did some shit that offended you. Like that doesn't work for me. So, hey, like I said, I ain't gonna take too much of y'all's time this go around, chatting. I had an amazing chat with the one and only Miss Mia Jackson, ATL's finest, one of the very funny comedians that came up out of Atlanta. I want y'all to sit back and relax and enjoy the interview with Miss Mia Jackson. Thank you much, Comedy Chatter Pod.
No, you know what? It's been pretty good. It's been, I've been
noticing. Yes, I've been noticing. I've been noticing. First of all, thank you so much for, coming through and allowing me to do the pod. Like I said, we've known each other for a while, but, I told myself, he was like, if I get a chance to kind of talk to her on Facebook and this, that, and the other, I'm going to ask her if she'll do if she'll do a, like a little podcast interview for me. And, yes, thank you so much for doing that. Appreciate you so much. We actually go back a little ways. So
I can't even,
yeah, you probably don't. So it's hilarious. It's been a while.
I've been aware of you for a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while. So it's I guess kind of funny circumstances. But you are a bulldog, right? We'll start there. Yeah, we'll start there. So yeah, you're a bulldog. Yeah.
I am a bulldog through and through.
Yes, exactly.
I am a Georgia bulldog.
And so with that said, you have a mutual friend that we know.
True.
And
This is true.
So we'll just leave it at that. But that's kind of how we first, we first kind of met.
Yes.
And I wasn't even doing stand-up or anything at that point. So it's hilarious that you kind of come full circle. You know somebody, you're like, man, I didn't even know her. When I met her, I wasn't even doing comedy, and she was, getting it in at that point, and taking it from there.
A mutual friend was like, hey, you remember? I was like, oh, I remember.
Exactly. That's hilarious. I thought I'd share that and laugh with you before we get started.
Yeah. I was wondering if that was going to come up.
Yeah, of course. I had to. So anyway, I always start my Comedy Chatter podcast off with one question. This question is just one of those deals that I say it and then I kind of let the comedian take it whichever way they want to do, but I'm a huge sports fan.
Okay.
And so with that said, I kind of use this question or this answer to kind of, curtail the rest of the interview.
All right.
So, okay, like I said, huge sports fan. Basketball is my sport, so I started with this. If you had to pick, I don't care whichever way you want to take it, but I got Michael Jordan, I got Kobe Bryant, I got LeBron James. You had to pick which way you go. Or neither, none. I don't do basketball. You can answer that anywhere you like.
If I had to pick... Mm-hmm. You know what? I'm going to have to go classic and go with Michael Jordan, even though he is a problematic dresser.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever seen that blog dedicated to his
outfit. Man. Yeah, they been going in on him, right? Yes. And then, of course, his mustache, the Hitler mustache.
Upsetting.
Yeah, he probably
better than that.
Yes, he probably does need a fashion, too. Like, I always ask that question just to kind of, just start. See where the comedian is, see where they going, and see how it is. Yeah. So.
Whether or not I can be trusted.
Exactly. Yeah. Just gotta. I'm glad you said that. Yeah. Just gotta see who I'm dealing with. You know what I mean? So as we already mentioned, UGA. You know what I'm saying? Georgia Bulldog. Now, when were you? When were you at Georgia?
When was I there? Mm-hmm. Should I lie?
I mean, you could do. You could do whichever.
I was there in the I was there in the 2000s.
Yes. See, we'll take that. Yeah, we'll take that.
I was there in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Okay, great. Yeah. And the only reason I asked is because I wanted to know if that was where you started your comedy. Like, were you at Georgia when you started?
So after I graduated, I started comedy about a year and a half later.
Okay.
So when I graduated, now that you said it, when I think back on it, so I was a December graduate, and then by that spring, I remember it was I had seen. I think when I graduated, I had seen some interview. There was something where Chris Rock was on this interview, and he was like, "If you want to be a comedian." He was like, you gotta write all the time. And in my head, I was like, I do want to be a comedian. And I gotta write. I'm like, what is that? What? Like you don't just get up on stage.
You don't just get up there and just go at the top of your brain? Yeah.
Right. And so when he said that, I just remember so this had to be at some point in the spring after I graduated. And I remember going, well, I've got to write. And then I went and bought some notebooks, just started. Just any and everything that I thought was funny. And some of it was just dumb, just like I would be recounting, I'd be like, okay, what was the funny thing? Oh, okay, yeah, this this date I was on, or oh, this thing was funny, and I'd be calling my friends on the phone and like, listen, this is the thing I'm gonna talk about on stage. And so I started writing stuff a good year before I even told it. I didn't even, when I started writing stuff in that spring, did not get on stage until the following summer.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay,
so
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So you took his advice to heart. Like,
I gotta
write. Then I'm gonna jump up there.
Yeah, but it was a lot of fear involved because I also was like, well, where do I go? Like, what? Like, when you write this stuff, like, what do you do? Like, what do you, now that it's written, like, what happens now? And then people were like, well, you got to get on stage. And I went, oh, I didn't want to do that one. I didn't want the stage part.
Yeah. Now, did you know of, like, said comedy clubs? Like, okay, this is where I'm going to go, or this is the first place I'm going to hit? Or did you know any clubs?
Because I was still in Athens because I stayed after I graduated. So the only thing I knew is that there was this local newspaper that was called the Flagpole, which is kind of like the Creative Loaf in here, and it had like, you know, any music event happening, and there was a section in there that said open mics, and I remember seeing this place, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, they do open mic comedy there. I should probably just go. So went to the place, kind of sitting around the back. I'm like, oh, this is open mic, okay, and then the guy that was hosting the show said after the show, he's like, oh, you must want to do comedy. And I was like, well, why'd you say that? And I was like, what'd you say that for? I was like, no. And then he's like, yeah, you do. He said, because you're the only woman that's at the show, period, tonight. And he was like, and you didn't come with anybody. And he was like, you didn't come to support.
Dang. So he called you all the way. He do. Yeah.
And he's like, well, why don't you just hang out with us and walk with us tonight? So I just started walking around with a bunch of strangers in the streets of Athens, and then they were like, so do you want to, and I was like, yeah, I've been writing jokes for a year, and I got a joke like this, and this, and this, and I remember calling my aunt, and my aunt's like, you just gave all your material away, you have to go up next week. And I was like, oh God, I do have to do it. She's like, what if those people take your material?
The material?
And in retrospect, you look back now and you get experience, and you're like, no one's going to take material from somebody that just started doing comedy. Nobody wants that.
That's true.
Nobody wants this terrible material.
That's true, because it's usually, like when we first start out, let's keep it real. Like, it's just like you said, oh man, I just wrote some mess down, and hopefully just to get up there. Yeah, but okay, so Athens was the first place that you
first place I ever got on stage.
Okay, great.
Now, Georgia, I will tell that was back in 2002.
All right, see, she came on out of there, ladies and gentlemen.
That was 2002. Yeah. I'll tell the truth. I have nothing to lie about.
Exactly. Not at all. Of course. So when did you make the migrate? When did you migrate up to Atlanta?
So in the time that I was in Athens, and then I would meet Atlanta comics that were coming up to go do the open mic. So then there would be somebody, just different people I met along the way, like, oh well, I do a night at this place, or I do a night here, or
so many nights.
You should go to the funny. The Funny Farm was still open at the time. And so okay. Said, you should go to the Funny Farm. They do an open mic, and I'm like, the Funny Farm? That's a club.
Yeah.
And so started going to the open mics there, and I just remember getting in the car and feeling like I'm gonna go do comedy in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And so that was probably about 6 months later. So if I started in August of 2002, I started just showing up in Atlanta at just different spots here and there.
Okay.
Just popping in and out of stuff.
Okay. But that kind of brings me to, like I said, we already kind of laughed about the first time, that's kind of going back, but the first time we ever met, said friend brought us out. Brought us out to a comedy show. Might have been the Funny Farm. You know what? But it was a comedy club.
It was the Funny Farm.
Okay.
That's where it was, because I was always going to open mics there.
Okay. Yep. And so
that's where it was.
So we come out, just like, oh, my girl, Mia is doing comedy tonight. Like I said, it's so funny because I'm not even thinking about no comedy. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm just with her. And, hey, you got up there, ripped it apart. I forgot the headliner was funny as hell that night, too. Can't remember his name, but a funny white guy. Very good. Yep, got up there, tore it down. Afterwards, of course, you came over and did the whole, hey, how you doing?
Yeah,
my girls, thank y'all so much for coming out. Yeah. First time we ever met out there. So that had to be, like you said, I got here, I moved to Atlanta from Ann Arbor in 2003. So this had to be 2004, 2005.
Because I was heavily there at the Funny Farm a lot from 2003, 2004, 2005.
Yeah, so anywhere in there
yep.
is when it was. I don't know the exact date, but so you were getting it. So after you were technically by that time we remember like pretty new, fairly new.
Yeah, fairly new. Yeah, 2-3 years.
I would have never known because I literally can remember that. I literally can remember like how good I was. Like, man, that's your friend. She's like, she'll be like, she'll be on.
Yeah.
Hey, like I said, way back.
Unearth the memory. Like, oh my God, yeah.
Yep, way back. Now, this is my next question. During your early years, like during that time, when we're talking about you at the funny farm, you getting it in, this, that, and the other. Did you have a said goal or a specific thing that you wanted to do? Like, you know what, I want to, I had a friend post this recently on Facebook, and it hit me because I thought, but he said, hey, man, my first goal when I did comedy was I just wanted to see my name on a flyer. Like, that was his first goal. Easy goal. Like, like, hey, I just want to see my name on a flyer, hey, featuring comedian, blah, blah. And I was like, So he's like, then after that, I would build different goals. So I'm just wondering if that's something that you did. Hey, do I want to, or did you want to conquer the world at the beginning? Like, hey, I want to be the best comedian of all time.
That was originally, I was just like, because I remember, because I just kept feeling like, for some reason, I was like, I kept feeling like I had something to say, and I don't, because it wasn't like I was living some difficult life prior to that where I'm like, there's just things inside of me that need to. But for some reason, I just kept feeling like I've got things to say.
Okay, well you did right for it. Yeah, like that's great comedy chatter podcast info right there. You wrote for an entire year before you stepped on stage. So yes, you definitely got some stuff to say.
Yes, I felt like I just felt like I was like I want to do everything. But at that time it was like, what do those things mean? And I think at first it was more like, well, I just want to get on the road, I just want to be in all these cool clubs every weekend, and then the more I started going, it was like, okay, well, I want to do corporate stuff, and then I did some corporate stuff, and I was like, I don't want to do corporate stuff, and then I do it, but at the time I was like, I just want to do corporates, I want to do colleges, and I want to do, and so they were always ever changing, but the main thing was just more of, I just want to go to different clubs. I just want to go work in different clubs in different cities because that seems cool.
Yeah.
Talking about
be one of the cool kids.
I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, be one of the cool kids. Now, the Atlanta comedy scene, that's definitely something that I wanted to chat with you about. I got here in 2003. Mm-hmm. I didn't start doing comedy till 2007. So like I said, you were
a little break.
Yep. I was like, hey,
I'm inspired.
Hey, you know what? That's probably must have been what it was. because yes. But I did not write or anything. I just was kind of like, hey, like you said, like how do I start that? If I ever wanted to do that, like how would I do it? And so, I moved to Atlanta. I didn't start here though. I started in Ann Arbor. Okay. It was just on a kind of a hunch type. I wouldn't say dare, but more of a like, hey man, you should do that. You should start. You should try that. Went home. Prepared. Yeah, I hadn't prepared. went home for 2 weeks from my vacation from school. Like I told you, I used to teach, but went home from here. I was working in a school here. Went home for 2 weeks. Found the comedy club in Ann Arbor. Went, and so I was just kind of like, hey, it's a comedy club. I'm going up. Like, how does this work? And they told me, yeah, we'll put you up. Went up there, of course, it was terrible. Just kind of just up there just chatting like we do it now. Like imagine this right now. Like on stage, people would be like, okay, do you have any jokes? So that's pretty much what I was doing. But it just kind of affected me. And I said, hey, I want to try that again. So I'm actually start writing now. But I said I'd like to say that I came back to Atlanta. I was, of course, living here. So I was like, okay, I can't fly home, to Michigan to go on every time. I want to, start finding some clubs here. And I found some spots around here that was going on, man. And I started meeting all of these hilarious, just hilarious dudes, man. You got Carlos Miller, who I started seeing at the beginning. Yep. Who's just now, getting it in. Clayton English. I started seeing him. and and LeVar Walker, like all these dudes now is just like getting it the hell in, right?
Everybody is doing
But I remember these guys like when they was just straight grinding at the beginning and coming out. I was like, and it literally intimidated the hell out of me. Still to this day, I'm just like, dude, like this Atlanta comedy scene is tough.
It's a good scene.
Yes, so that's why I said let me chat with her. Just give me your take on the Atlanta comedy scene and how it was for you, because you obviously made your you made your bones here. You know what I'm saying? In Atlanta.
The Atlanta comedy scene is strong. I mean, and like I can remember like the evolution of it from the early days. It was like this little core group of people that we're gonna just put on shows here and we're gonna do here, and then like all of a sudden it seemed like around, I don't know if it was around like 05, 06 within that time frame, but it's like all of a sudden like these different rooms started popping up. It was regular places to work out all the time. You had the Funny Farm, you had Punchline. I think Uptown was here, and then it was closed for a while, then it reopened.
Okay.
And I can't remember which year, but I know it reopened to the location on Marietta Street. I think.
That's where it
but
is.
But like it was just all this cool stuff just happening. But that's the thing about the Atlanta comedy scene is that I always tell everybody this. I'm like, comedy pretty much in every city you go to is very segregated. Like you got your urban, you got your mainstream, you got your alt, then you got some people who can kind of do every single thing.
Them, yeah.
And so the Atlanta team, but that's the crazy thing, like it's strong pretty much on all fronts. Like I remember going to stuff really early and seeing people and going, oh man, that dude, because Comic View was still on the air when I started doing
comedy. That's true too. That's true too. That's true as well.
That's him. I know that. And
that's
like,
true.
Oh my god! Like I remember.
And I think it swept through Atlanta at one point. Like didn't Ricky Smiley host? And it was in Atlanta.
Yeah, it was in Atlanta. Yeah, at what was I don't know if it was called Earthling Live then or something like that. I can't.
Okay.
But it's the. What is it's the place? It's still. I think it's where Roy Wood Jr. recorded his special.
Center Stage.
Yes, I think that was Earthling Live. I think.
Okay.
And I think that's where they taped Comic View. But like, I just remember like seeing Big Kenny, like seeing Big Kenny, like he was one of the people where like seeing him live and being like, oh my God, I've seen him on Comic View. And it was so
Big
crazy
Kenny.
because Big Kenny became one of my friends. Big Kenny was the person who he referred me to the Soul Train Awards, and then me and him wrote for the Soul Train Awards in 2009 and 2010.
Awesome.
So it was just so crazy to be like, that's somebody, I saw him on TV, or like Pat Brown, and being like, that's that's her, so like I saw those people, like, you saw the people that were big in the urban world, and then you see these people who were big in like the mainstream thing where it was like, oh, that person just got a Comedy Central half hour, like that's so cool, so the scene has just been strong on all fronts, but it just got better and better and better over the years.
It did. Like you said, it's nothing to come, like, Ann Arbor, small college town in Michigan versus Atlanta, totally different. I can go up to Ann Arbor, like I said, that night I went my first time, hey, can I get on? Yeah.
No,
like,
they met you.
Hey, exactly.
Like,
do that. You come to Atlanta. Hey, come to Atlanta. Hey, can I get it?
Who?
What?
Did you send an email?
Yeah, exactly.
Did you sign up 3 weeks ago?
Exactly. Never that. Like I got Chris Tucker just left, bro. Like,
right.
You think you might? I don't even know who you are. So comedy scene is real strong here. Now you just mentioned something, and I kind of thought about this question while you mentioned it. You mentioned the whole segregation, alt, urban, mainstream, and then the comedians that could do it all. I think that you're definitely one of those comedians that can do it all.
Question mark?
No, no, definitely. You definitely are one. So where I'm going with this is, do you pride yourself on that? Is that something that you like? Hey, you know what? I'm trying to do it all, or is it something that you really don't think about? You just are who you are.
I feel like I'm just who I am because and I do more mainstream, but like for me, and I'll be honest, like very early on, like I struggled a lot, like when it came to urban comedy stuff, because when I first started, it was like I grew up watching Def Jam, I grew up watching Comic View, so it was like, well, I want to conquer that arena because these are my people.
Yeah,
I'm black. And, but then like I remember I would go to some of the places and I would be like, am I doing something wrong? Like, am I not Like, am I just not connecting? Because I know I'm like, I'm like,
I know, I'm black too.
Black,
What's wrong with y'all? Why y'all looking at me?
culturally-
Like, why y'all looking at me with 3 eyes right now?
Right. But I'm like, I'm black. I'm like, because I ain't, and I will say this just so it's on the record. But like, nothing bothers me more like when I see black comics who will try to purposely separate themselves on stage. So even in the mainstream world, where you get people that'll be like, I'm one of the good ones. I'm different, and I'm like, like I don't like it. So I never, and that was the thing. I was never like I'm one of the good ones. Like, I never felt like that. So I would just be like, why am I struggling? But then there would be times where I would do some of the urban shows, just like in just different environments. I would be like, oh, like maybe that particular crowd wasn't my crowd, but this group of people, like, oh, we got kind of the same background, so maybe it's just a matter of maybe that's just not my audience, but maybe this group is.
Yes. Like culture, like the actual culture and this, that, and the other don't have nothing to do with it. It's just more so, like you said, the crowd. Like people that are here. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, and so like, I mean, but like to me, like, but I mean, if I was gonna say a person who I know for sure I would say can do everything, I would say it's Clayton English. Like, Clayton is a person, like, he gonna kill in urban, he gonna kill in mainstream, he gonna kill wherever, and it's amazing.
Yeah, he proved that with Last Comic.
Absolutely, I was on that season with him.
Oh, okay, he proved that on Last Comic. I had no, because the funniest comedian to me that I've seen live in this whole Atlanta scene is Carlos Miller. Man, I'm talking about, when people say, like, you can't, you hurt, like, I would go over to Cats, man.
And
because he was just him and like, from what I hear, him and Maurice kind of like started that. And
they did,
And I was like, hey, man, I'm going over here. I don't care who else is coming up that night. If Los is hosting, I'm about to cry laughing to hear tonight.
Because he's so good.
So when I said all that to say that I think he was on the season before, I think.
He was, when they brought back Last Common Stand, and Carlos was on season 8 and Clayton was on season 9.
Yes, exactly. So when he didn't go, I was watching. I thought, this is my dude from Atlanta. He go win. I was like, hey,
I kind of thought it too. Yeah.
And when he didn't go, I was like, oh yeah. So I just immediately thought, next year Clayton, they probably not gonna show him that kind of love because of Los. And when he kept destroying them every week, I was like, oh, okay. I knew he was funny now. I was just thinking that the Last Comic Stand wouldn't show him the kind of love that they showed him. And like you said, hey, he knew. Yeah, he had it. He took care. I thought he did a great job too of the advice that they were giving. You know how they give you the advice
the advice,
the next week he had that advice in his set. He was like, I'm gonna play this game with him, bro. Very good. So good. Yeah, very good. All right, so I obviously had to do this just so you know you are making history with this podcast. You are you are the first female. You are the first female. Like, obviously, I'm very early. Like, this is only my 6th episode. I'm just
thank you for getting us in early.
Yeah, exactly.
Getting in on the ground floor.
Exactly.
All right. I'm a pioneer of the Rosa Parks of this podcast.
Thank you.
That should
No. I see where you were going.
That was a pioneer. Maybe that was the Harriet Tubman.
Sojourner, all of them. Yeah, you all of them put together in one. Yes.
You see them going back. I know it's Black history.
Exactly. So I obviously have to ask this question, just because we're going there with that theme. Do you feel, or put it this way? What is your take on kind of working in this? Because you all know the stand-up comedy and comedians is kind of a male-dominated type thing. You'll go out and I don't think people would think that I'm unfair in saying that. I mean, hell, you see most of them are men, and then you see one woman, and men, and then you see one woman.
The world is a male-dominated world.
That's true too. So if we go that far, we can go there. So, but stand-up, definitely. Specials, all the specials I'm seeing on Netflix right now, men. Then you'll get an Amy Schumer, men. So with that said, what is your take, and how have you just kind of dealt with kind of being a comedian and kind of carving your niche in such a male-dominated,
Like, how do I deal with it, or how do you?
Just I guess basically your take. You can take the question either way.
I mean, it is a male-dominated industry.
So you agree?
So you're not. That's not a. Yeah, you're not. That's not hyperbole. It's not. You're making it like it's. Just, it's what it is.
Exactly.
It's a male-dominated industry because to stand up in front of people and to be funny is something that people associate with men. Like people don't expect, and that's always that age-old thing. People are like, women ain't funny. People don't expect women to be funny. But it's a very but to go stand on stage and to have a microphone in front of your hand and try to command a crowd, that is a very that's a thing that people like. That's a masculine thing.
Yeah, it's
like,
more of a
women are supposed to off and women are supposed to be sweet and blah blah blah. So there is that. But I just kind of I think when I got into comedy though, I didn't look at it as just being. I didn't look at it as being a limitation. I didn't look at it being like, well, I'm a woman, so I just was like, I want to go in and be good. Like I want to be able. I'm gonna just be good. I want to be able to hang with anybody,
anyone,
you know. Yeah. And so, but it is a lot of men in comedy, and again, a lot of that stuff. I think the reason why there probably aren't as many women is just because of how people are, how women, how we're socialized, how we're raised. Because it's like if women are being loud and snorting and funny, and people are kind of like, oh no,
or maybe the language, stuff like that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I've had conversations with people where they're like, I don't. Women that curse too much. I mean, that's kind of,
But we could do it all day, right?
Yeah. Like, I remember, I dated somebody who was like that. It was just like, I mean, maybe you don't want to, maybe we should, not really curse each other, much when we talk. And I was like, what? Like, why? Like, it feels good to say shit. I mean, like, but yeah, so it's that kind of thing where, but it's the way women are socialized to be like, well, you're supposed to be seen and not heard, and and all that kind of stuff. So that's we don't really get encouraged to be funny, that kind of thing. And so, and it's just it's the socialization part. And so, but men, and I'm not trying to be like I'm man bashing, but like men, like you can just be the dumbest dude on earth that's just like, oh, I'm funny, and it's like, and they go get on stage, and you're like, no, you're not, but all right, but somebody gave you the confidence, and you just feel like you should be able to do it, and nobody stops them, like if it's a woman that's kind of like, well, I think I might be funny. People are like, are you sure you want to do that?
Yeah.
Sure you want to try?
That's a hell of a double standard right there. That's true. Any dude just can go,
dude would jump on stage and be talking about nothing.
Yeah, but like your housewife from Indiana somewhere, they'd be like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
You might want to think about that before.
Like, I mean, you have a family. Is that something you want to? And it's like, men have families?
Exactly. We all the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yep, that's exactly where I was going with that too. Now, do you have any any stories you can share with us about anybody that got kind of out of hand, like audiences? I know y'all standing up there. And
as a woman?
Yes. And we looking at men looking at y'all, and the last thing they thinking about is some jokes.
I mean, this is again, it's just the way that it's just unfortunate. I mean, it's just facts, but it's like being a woman in comedy. It's one of them things where somebody gonna say something, somebody gonna do something, somebody gonna try something. I've gone to places before where I've gotten on stage and people are sitting there smiling the whole time, and I'm like, oh, like goodness, I shouldn't have been this adorable tonight.
Yes, yes. Like, are you listening to anything I'm saying?
Listening, and then and I've had shows before where. Because, the classic rule that they always say is that, you got to get the women on your side. Because if you're a woman, you walk out, and if the women like you, then their dudes are going to like you.
Okay, never heard that.
Because they kind of be like, oh, she's cool. So, she ain't trying to take my man, so we can laugh at her.
Okay,
but then I have had times where, like, when I'm dressed down, but if I get dressed up, sometimes, like, I can just see sometimes where there'll be some women like,
so now they like, she thinks she cute. She thinks she cute.
She
face.
came out here with, and one time I was at a show and I said something, and I'm like, kind of going around, like, just when you're doing crowd work, like, you guys married? I did it at the show. It was a few weeks ago, and the woman was like, yes,
Oh.
this is my husband.
Okay.
And I want to be like, I'll take your man. No, but I was just looking at her like, I literally just asked the couple right next to you, are y'all married? Like, I ain't trying to take your, I'm asking everybody, like, you guys married? So you deal with that. And then early in my comedy career, like with men in comedy, like a lot of times you'll get the thing where, and I will say this to people, let me just cut myself off. Now, I think part of the reason that I haven't had as many difficulties is because I'm very tall. I'm 6 feet tall. So a lot of times I don't get a lot of the, I don't get a whole lot of people being like, oh, I'm going to try her because they think I'm going to knock the hell out of them. So,
that helps.
Yeah, so it helps. But then there's very much like, there's still the condescending stuff that happens sometimes, or the, hey, baby girl, hey, you want to go up there and get me some water? I'm like, no, I don't want to get you water. Like, I'm on the show with you. We can call somebody to get us both water.
Exactly.
I don't want to get you water.
So these are the actual comics.
These are comics. So when you deal with comics, sometimes it's the baby girl or the person want to come touch you in the small of your back. Ooh. Like, I worked with a comic one time who, First of all,
yeah, you sound like you had a memory with this one.
I worked with a comic where it was the baby girl and all that kind of stuff, and then it was trying to tell me how to work on one of my jokes, and telling me how I needed to fix a joke. Like, you don't need this. You say this word too many times in your set. You take away the power and blah 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 blah.
Okay.
And then this dude is closing with street jokes, and I was like, at least I wrote the stuff that I just said. I'm like, but you baby girl and me, and then it was, just kind of thinking like, hey, well, can you do this for me before the show? I'm like, I don't want to do none of this stuff. Like, I don't want to do nothing. Like, the dude was like, can I borrow your computer? No, like, no, you're asking for too much. Like, but you think because I'm a woman and I'm gonna be like, oh, sure, I'll help you out. I want to help you.
Yes, we are both comedians.
Like, right, we're both comedians, and then I've had things that I've talked about in my set on stage, where then people will go, oh, this transfers to the real world. She talking about sending titty pics, so can you send me some? And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not sending you pictures. Like, are you crazy? And so I've had people say stuff like that. I've had, people hit me up on Facebook and be like, well, hey, during your set, I'm new to town. Can I want to hang out with you? And I'd be like, yeah, I was talking about dating somebody in my set. Oh, I thought you was just joking, though. And I'm like, okay. So, it'll be stuff like that. Like, I've had to block some people.
Oh, man. Sure.
I've audience members wise, like, it'll be people where it always starts like this. It'll be, oh my God, I saw you on such and such, or oh my God, I was at the show and I saw you do this thing, and you're like, oh, this is cool. And I'm a very, I try to be a kind person, and like when people hit me up, oh, thank you so much, I really appreciate it, and I am being very sincere. But then it's like, man, you come to my city, please let me know, and you're like, cool, I will post. Not gonna tell you probably about post. But there was one guy who kept sending me messages. When you gonna come to my city? I would love to come and spend some time with you. And I'd be like, yeah, no. You go to the dude's Facebook page, posting pictures of his wife and kids.
All kind of wives and kids.
All
kind of life and family and everything.
He living his best life. He living his best life with his family. And then would be sending me messages like, oh, you gonna come to my city and wasn't gonna say nothing? And I'm like, I literally don't know you. And like, I had to block the dude on Facebook.
Yeah, you got to get rid of him.
You get people like that. And that last comic standing, I get a lot of white dudes with glasses that send me pictures of themselves. I've gotten a lot of. I don't know why I'm killing with the white dude with glasses market.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Gotten a lot of like, hey, just want to send you some pictures of myself, and I would like to know if you would like to date me. And I'm like, no, I don't like.
I don't know.
No, so things like that happen. But what I was saying early though in my comedy career, I remember working at the Funny Farm, and there was a headliner, and it was very crazy because like the guy that was we weren't dating at that point, but we were in that phase where you're kind of like, I think we like each other. And so he was working at the Funny Farm, and he told me, he gave me a heads up like, look, I'm not trying to tell you this because I'm interested in you. He's like, I'm just telling you, this headliner keep asking about you. Because I was kind of hanging out that week, and he's like, dude keeps asking about you. He was like, just be careful. Just be careful.
Yeah.
He said they went out to eat. He said, dude is just like, what's up with that girl that's at the show? You know, because I think I was hosting. And he said, what's up with the girl that's hosting the show? And they were like, oh, that's Mia. Like, that's Mia. What are you doing? So, the guy was being super nice to me. You know, just like, oh, you know, and you're new to comedy, and that's great, and that's awesome. Giving me all this wonderful advice. You should do this, you should do that, blah, blah, blah. I mean, your look is great, blah, blah, blah. Then one of the nights before I went on the stage, the dude was like, oh, I wish I could have a woman like you. And I was just like,
oh, Lord.
Okay.
And he said that right when you about to go on.
Right when I'm about to go on. And this dude then turned around and pinned me against the wall, like came and stood over me. And since, I mean, I was, you know, he was shorter than me, so his hands were kind of in the air. And all I did was just duck under him. And I was like, yeah, no. And then I went out on stage.
Oh,
and then,
that's terrible.
Yeah, and I had to go in and had to introduce the dude. So I purposely ruined his name.
Oh, okay.
I messed his name up on purpose.
Okay.
And then I remember after that, whole attitude changed. He became very critical of everything I did. You're holding the mic wrong.
Yeah, now he's starting to mess with
wrong.
you. Yeah.
You need to. This dude's like, you need to wear blazers on stage. Like, what is this, 1985?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not wearing blazers.
Yeah,
and
you remember a minute ago you was cool. Like everything was great.
Everything about me was wonderful. But the moment I rejected the dude, it was just like, it was just like, yeah, you need to work on this and you need to work on that, you know. And I was just like, oh God. Unfortunately, I have not had, like, that's the only time where something happened at a show where I was like, God, this is super uncomfortable. But more often than not, like I said, it's more almost like a dismissive attitude with some people like, hey, baby girl, look at you thinking you doing comedy. Look at you. Are you my host this weekend? Are you my feature? You on the show?
Yeah.
I thought they didn't just sit you back here to be pretty. You know, you get that kind of stuff and you're like, I'm an adult.
I'm sure.
I'm a real grown adult.
I'm sure that's perfect perspective, because that's exactly where I was going with that. Because I'm sure y'all, man, that was the worst story ever too. Like him doing it right before you go on. Like I know how I am before I go on stage, dude. Like if you, I'm like, no, with all that
don't
now.
Talk to me.
Yeah, like don't play.
I could have punched this dude.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm so in a zone trying before I go on stage, and yes, that was.
You're trying to pin somebody.
Yes.
Like, what is wrong with you?
So yeah, I'm certain that you guys get stuff like that.
But every industry has creeps. I mean, that's just the thing, you know. But I've also worked with a lot of people who've been super cool. Like, hey, I respect you as a comic. Like, we good, we cool.
We mentioned Roy Wood, earlier when we was kind of talking.
Amazing.
Man, amazing. Just a great dude. I'm glad that you told me that you have experienced that with him too. Because he's a good guy.
Yeah.
All right, so your move from Atlanta, we've been talking about the comedy scene, but from what you were telling me recently, like you kind of like trying to make it to the NY, right?
I'm trying to go to New York.
Yeah.
I'm trying to go to New York. Like,
tell me about that.
Yeah, so last November, actually, I got passed as a comedy seller, which is amazing.
Okay, and congrats.
So thank you. So pretty much like whenever I'm not on the road, I try my best to get to New York so I can see if I can do spots, because it's just when people talk about like the magic of doing comedy in New York and then you're like, and you're there, it's like, oh man, like this is, like I've been there before where like, what was it, this summer, on my birthday, Amy Schumer called me and she was like, oh, I'm doing this fundraiser. And she was like, I want you to be on the show.
Yeah.
She was like, hey, are you in the city? And I was like, I'm in Atlanta right now. And I was like, but I can be there tomorrow.
Of course.
And then on the show, it's like, she hosted it. She hosted the show. It was some of the girls from Saturday Night Live on there. Wow. Chris Rock was on the show.
Wow.
Judd Apatow was on the show.
Goodness.
Just all these people. And I was just like, and then she, at the end of the show, she's like, yeah, this was my dream lineup. I'm so happy I got all these people on the show. Man. And I was like, whoa, oh dear.
Exactly.
Oh dear. And then like, of course, because it was her, you got all like when she took the picture for Instagram, because she was like, hey guys, take a picture. I'm gonna take a picture right now. And then she tagged and thanked all the people that were on the show. And then like that screenshot was like on people.com and all this stuff. And I'm like, my name is on there. And then like on the post, like people were like, who was the girl that told the joke about this? And I'm like, oh my God, they're talking about me. mean? So that's one of those cool things with New York where you're like, I've been there before, just like I said, just at the Comedy Cellar, and then you're like, did Chris Rock just walk in? Like, Chris Rock just walked in.
You in it? Yeah.
Sat down, or
you in it in New York?
Yeah, I mean, and then you just see these people just walking down the street like, is that? Like, that's the dude from that show. You know, you just see all this stuff, and it's just a really, but it also makes you want to be a better comic. Like, every time I go there, I always have this existential crisis because I'm like, I'm talking about nothing. And I'm like, these people are amazing. You
and guess what? That's supposed to be happening. Like they say, sharpen your sword. That's where you're supposed to go to places like that. You're supposed to be like, I ain't shit up in this mug. I got to get better.
Like, and then, wrong with my life? My whole life has been a lie.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. You mentioned, I think the last time we saw each other before right now, what's the spot down in Buckhead?
Let me see what the Skull Punchline.
Nope, the one right in Buckhead that we were there last time I saw you. Yep, you
that
went on and you told me the Improv. Improv in Atlanta is closed now. That's where I should have started. Yeah, Improv is closed now. But last place that we saw each other, I went up that night. You went up and you told me that night that you had been doing some stuff with Schumer. How's it working with her?
That was cool. Like she, because I met her years ago actually from actually just working at the Punchline. Like she, I think she had just started, because she had been working there before. I think she might have been featuring, for like Jim Norton. I think she was a feature for him. Okay. And, I think she did for sure because one of my friends hosted for them. But then I think after Last Comic Standing, I want to say she headlined first at the Funny Farm. I think, and then when she headlined for the first time at the Punchline, I just happened to be one of the hosts they had that weekend, and so we were just sitting around talking.
You up. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were just around chatting and talking, and we just always stayed in touch. And so just periodically over the years, like if she came back to town, she would be like, "Oh, I'm doing the show," or "Oh, you should come by the Punchline." I would go. Sometimes I would just come just to say hello,
just hang out,
just talk to her, and then so just over the years, she'd be like, "Hey, you want to go do this show? Do you want to do this thing?" And so, so she's just been real cool and just very, very she's a very kind person and just super, super helpful. And if when I have moments where I'm like, hey, can I ask your advice about something? Like, super cool about giving me advice and just being just a cool person.
Yeah. So you saw her blow pretty much then too, huh? You just saw her go from, like you said, you mentioned featuring. I didn't know nothing about her until I train wrecked. And she's like one of the biggest comedians in the world. I'm like, who is this? So you saw her straight come and blow. Yeah.
I hosted I can't remember. This might have been 2009, 2010, but I hosted for her, and I think the next time she came back, it might have been because I think they might have brought her back to their New Year's Eve act, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So she came back, I think, a few times for that, and then I think by the time her show was about to come out, she would come it would be a Wednesday night, and that would be the only night she would do and sell out the whole thing. And then you could and I was just like, oh wow, because last time she worked the weekend, but this time she's doing a one-nighter
on a Wednesday.
High energy. Yeah. And then last year I got to open for her at Phillips Arena.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And it was down. I know it was going down every day that night.
Insane. It was a crazy night. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
But hey, I don't want to hold you hostage. Thank you so much for coming through, man. This is without a doubt one of the best podcasts I've done so far. First of all, like I mentioned to Roy Wood, what he gave me a lot of time. But most of the comedians that I get are just kind of trying their best to come in, be polite. You know what I'm saying? Thank you.
I like to talk.
But but that's why the reson why I said, hey, we gonna take this back. We gonna take this back so we can chat. We can make it way more informative than it needs to be. So I appreciate you. What else you got kind of going on? You got some new projects coming up? Or?
What do I have going on? Let's see. I'm just working. That's all.
Yeah. You got the website and all of that popping off, so they can come check you out.
It needs to get better, but it's it's just MiaJackson.com.
Perfect.
And then I am on Instagram and on Twitter at Mia Comedy. And I'm on Facebook, Mia Jackson, but if you go to my fan page, it's Comedian Mia Jackson.
Comedian Mia Jackson. Yeah. So you believe me, you'll start getting the little 17, 18 people that's listening
that's
to
what I want. Give me them 17, 18 people.
Hey,
thing. That Rome wasn't built in a day.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way I feel.
I gotta get what I can get.
That's exactly the way I feel. So, yeah, thank you so much for donning the podcast. I appreciate you.
Thank you for... Guys, listen, I'm a pioneer.
Yes, the first female comedian on the Comedy Chatter podcast. And as you've heard, the interview's been amazing. So thank you so much, Miss Mia Jackson.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much for checking out the pod. A very special thanks to my guest, Miss Mia Jackson. You can check out our website for future show info. Check out the next episode of the Comedy Chatter podcast with another nationally touring comic and, of course, me, Meldon Williams. Make sure y'all keep listening, subscribing, and supporting. Y'all be good to yourselves and each other. Take care.